everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Josie. Today I'm doing my annual memorial for my daughter, Cheryl Ann. I actually do two a year, one on the day she was born and one on the day that she passed away. Now, she was born on Memorial Day, May 30th, and I want to tell you a little bit about her. Now, I do these, maybe if you wonder why I keep repeating myself in doing this, it's to honor her. Also, it maybe will help just one person get through a tragedy. And I will tell you a little bit about Cheryl and what she said before she died. And you know, I just feel good about doing this. I have had a question about a year ago, and somebody asked me on Facebook, because I also do I don't do a video on Facebook, but I show her pictures and do just a short little write-up. Anyway, this is Cheryl Ann. She was born May 30th, 1960 in Northern California. She died December 11th, 1969 of muscular dystrophy. Now, she was in the 4th grade when she passed away. And with muscular dystrophy, in those days, they really weren't that familiar with different types. So I really don't know what type she had. We didn't have internet. We didn't have Google. And there wasn't a lot of information out there. But what it did, muscular dystrophy affects your heart, or your muscles, excuse me, and your heart is a muscle. So it actually, what took her life was congestive heart failure. Now, she was not just because she was my daughter, she was a bright little girl. I think children who have any type of health issue or disability are more mature than maybe the average child. She did really well at school. She got a little irritated at school because kids used to tease her about being so skinny. And she would come home and say, "Mama, I'm going to beat them up if they tease me again." But she basically handled it really well, and she had a couple of older friends at school who kind of kept an eye on her and helped her at the water fountain. And anyway, how she was diagnosed is she was supposed to have a tonsillectomy, and so was her brother, and her brother had it. But they had had a cold, and the doctor wanted to do chest x-ray before he operated on them. And when they did Cheryl's chest x-ray, they found that her heart was enlarged. So doctor sent us to a specialist in Portland, Oregon, and we took Cheryl. And the one thing I was angry at for a long, long time, but got over it, actually destroyed the letter. The specialist didn't actually send me a letter until several months after she passed away. And in the letter, it said that she had a muscle disease, but she could live probably a pretty normal life, which our primary doctor was fantastic, explained that, you know, what was wrong with Cheryl, and gave me some great advice. He said, "Live each day like it's her last, and you will never have any regrets." And that's what we did. So anyway, Cheryl was the oldest. She was my firstborn, and her brother was 14 and a half months younger than her, which her death really affected him. When he went to bed that night, his sister was still alive. In the morning when he got up, she was dead. So I'm sure this has hurt him most of his life. Being as young as he was, he did not understand. So anyway, to get back to Cheryl, she was, like I said, a spunky little girl. She was very, very thin. She had like angel wings, I'll call them. She was very thin. You could see her ribs in the back. And she was a fat little chubby baby until she hit about a year old. And the one thing I did notice that when she crawled, she didn't crawl like a normal baby. She drug one leg. So anyway, I'll get back to the part that I treasure so much, because the faith that I have today, my little girl gave me that faith. You know, we didn't have internet service. We didn't have the sources now, you know, that you could hear things. So the things that she said before she passed away, it's not something she ever heard. But I had put her to bed that night, and she got up 3 different times and would stand in our bedroom door and just talk and talk about things. I always said the only thing God let me remember was she talked about angels. But as she talked, I remember thinking, I have to, when I wake up in the morning, I have to write these things down. And I was in just awe of what she said. And when I woke up, and she had passed away, and she was laying next to me. When I woke up, I could not remember. The only thing I remembered is her talking about angels, and she kept asking, can I still set the Christmas tree? And the story behind the Christmas tree, her dad had went out and got our Christmas tree, but we lived in Idaho, it was snowing, and the tree was wet. So he put it out on the porch and said, you know, tomorrow it'll be dry and we can set it. And she kept asking, can I still set the Christmas tree? And I always thought that she was asking the angels. She wasn't asking me. So she knew. And I have felt like she always knew that her life was short. Because I remember one time when she said, Mommy, I will never leave you. And she was very serious. And I said, oh, Cheryl, someday when you grow up, you're going to get married and have, your family. And she looked at me very kind of sad, and this is from a very young child. And she said, no, Mommy. And anyway, she is, I always said, as humans, sometimes we get those little doubts in there and that little negativity, but I always think about what she left me and the words that she said. And my faith has always been strong. So I honor her. How a child of 9 can leave such a mark on an adult's life. This little girl had more knowledge than so many of us adults. And I know I will see her someday. I know there's heaven. There's also hell, but I know there's heaven. And so like I said, I do this to honor her. She was my first child, and I've always missed her. I learned to go on with life, but I know someday I will see her. So this is very special to me. Like I said, there might be some non-believers who just think, why does she do this? Just don't watch my video. You have a right to your own thoughts. But this little girl was very knowledgeable. And she never heard any of the things that she said. Like I said, we didn't have internet. We didn't have cell phones. Actually, do you know what I at that time, the information, other than what the doctor told me, the information I got was out of an encyclopedia. And I know the younger generation probably doesn't even know what those are. But so that's how, children back then didn't have, like nowadays, okay, somebody can say, well, I heard that on a video, she just repeat what she heard. No, what she said actually came from angels or from the Lord Jesus. So anyway, I hope you do watch my video. Leave a comment. I appreciate comments. I do delete rude comments. And one more thing I want to say, and this is kind of a different circumstance. I don't usually bring other things into my memorial videos, but everyone's gone through pain in their life. There is no pain worse than losing a child. I don't care what you went through, losing a child that you carried for 9 months and is the worst tragedy you could ever bear. And another thing I want to say, in watching what is going on right now and the 19 children who lost their life, I pray for the parents. The children are in heaven. The children are not hurting. They are in heaven. I pray for the parents. They are enduring the worst pain ever. Even worse than I went through. I knew my daughter was dying from muscular dystrophy. The doctor prepared me. As hard as it was, I lived each day like it was her last to the fullest. But these people who sent their children to school, and that was the last time they've seen them, my heart goes out to them. I knew this part of it, I was going to have a hard time. So please, pray for those families. I pray that the Lord helps them get through this. Anyway, this is to honor my precious daughter, Cheryl Ann. God bless all of you, and hope to see you soon. Bye, everyone.